welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for joining me on my journey to becoming Dr. Matapo. Now, for you guys who don't know me, my name is Lisara Matapo and I'm currently a 4th year medical student at WITS, and yeah, I'm on a journey to becoming Dr. Matapo. So yeah, before we get into today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Guys, we're on road to 2,000. 2,000. So yeah guys, please share this video, please share my channel with your friends, your family, your other family members, extended family members, so we can get to 2,000 subscribers. And yeah man, thank you guys so much for subscribing to my channel, and yeah, for the content support and the love. I really appreciate it. So with today's video, we're basically going to be talking about how to best prepare for a spot test, right? So I've had a couple of second year students asking me how to best prepare for the spot test and the sort of resources that I've used in the past and how they can better their chances of doing really well in this test. And yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about today. So our conversation around the spot test is going to be divided into 3 segments, right? The first segment being talking about basically what the spot test is, understanding what the spot test is and how you guys are going to be examined and what the thinking that you should be having when you think about your spot test, right? The second thing is the resources that you'll need to actually prepare for the spot test, and the third thing is how to best use the resources that you have to study and make sure that you are able to do really well in that test. Okay guys, so let's just quickly talk about what the spot test is, right? So now your spot test basically is that it's a spot test. You need to be able to spot things, you need to be able to identify things. Now I know throughout the year you guys have been learning a lot of theory and a lot of information around what happens to this muscle when this happens, or how does this nerve or the artery come about. So you guys have had to make sure that when you study you learn a lot of theory, being able to explain things and be able to sort of understand how things work and how things don't work, things like that, right? So that's how it's been throughout the year, and your guys' studying has been structured to work around that. But now with your spot test, things are different. You no longer have to study like that, because with the spot test, what happens now is that you have to be able to identify things. So you have to be looking at something and knowing, what is this? What muscle is this? What artery is this? What nerve crosses here? So it's basically just being able to like spot things, like just mention this is this. It's not so much the theory, it's not so much explaining how things come about or things like that. So I hope that sort of clarifies what it is, I hope. And we'll basically talk about how you guys should change your studying methods to focus more on the spot test and how to best prepare for it just now. So going on to number 2. So with regards to resources for your spot, right? Now the resources that I'm telling you guys, the ones that I've used and I used when I was in second year to prepare for my spot, and they have helped me, right? If there are any others outside of what I've mentioned, please mention them in the comment section below, so that we can all learn and we can all make sure that we get through this spot test very well and we get good marks. And well, you guys get good marks. I've been through it already. But yeah, so let's just get right into it. So you're gonna need, first of all, your NETIS atlas, like your atlas, right? You're gonna need to have that or be able to get it from the library or somewhere, right? Your atlas. The second thing is that you're gonna need a McMins, right? A lot of people don't know about this textbook, but it's available at the library at school, right? It's called a McMins. It basically looks like this. Oh, I think it's upside down. This is your McMins. So now what a McMins is basically a textbook that has I'm just gonna show you guys just now, looking for a page. It basically shows you guys the structures as you would get them in the cadavers, right? So when you're looking at your McMins, or when you use your McMins, you basically get pictures of cadavers like this, right? You get pictures like that in this book. So this whole book is pictures of cadavers, and it's like the whole section, like all the sections that are in your anatomy, your atlas. So you also get it here, but now the pictures that are in here are mainly just the cadavers. So that's the second thing. The third thing that you're going to need is your lecture notes or your lecture slides, right, to prepare for this thing. Because in as much as we have the NETIS and the atlas, you still need to know what your parameters are when you're studying, what things you guys are expected to know and what things you're not expected to know, because you don't want to end up just studying the whole body when it's not in your scope in second year. Okay, so your lecture slides are also needed, right? And the third thing that I used to use when I was in second year, there were like these drives that were always just going around in second year somewhere, where they had like a lot of pictures of like just pictures that people have from different sides of like specimens and stuff like that from like different sides people got from the internet and stuff, and then just put in a drive where you guys can also use those to practice. Okay, so if you can get hold of like drives, or your friends might have, please share with your classmates so that you guys can also use those things to practice. So yeah, that's just like 4 things that you guys are gonna need to make sure that you excel in this test, right? So let's talk about how to actually now prepare for the spot, or how to actually study for the spot test using the resources that I've mentioned and using the understanding of what a spot test is. Now, it's a pity I don't have my netters here or my atlas with me, but basically with the atlas, what we're going to use it for is basically looking at the pictures that are in the atlas, right? So you need to be able to look at the pictures that are presented in the atlas and know how to identify stuff. The reason we want to use our atlas is because in the atlas, the structures that are there are in color, right? So you have your muscles, your nerves, your arteries, and all of that in different colors. Your muscles are red, your nerves are yellow, veins blue, and arteries red, right? And that sort of helps with orientation. It helps with identifying structures, and you know what you're looking at when you look at the structures in the atlas, right? And it also has the bones, and also in the atlas you get the bones that have the different colors that are shaded on them, like they show you which one is an insertion and origin. There are different pages of bones where they talk about those things. So that's why we want to use our atlas. We want to use it so that we can learn how to identify the structures that we see in front of us in color, right, guys? So now let's talk about how you actually now start studying for this thing, right? Now the advice that I give you is what I did and what worked for me, and how I managed to get really good marks for my spot. Okay, so now first things first, when I study, I started off using my atlas, and in the atlas I start off learning the bones. It's important for me to learn the bones, right? Like, spend time, do not sleep on bones, do not skim through that thing. It's important to learn to identify your bones. So the thing about learning bones first is that when you're learning the bones, right, first things first, you're able to orientate yourself looking at the bone. So when you see a bone, you're able to see, okay, is this the right or is it the left? What makes it the right? What lies medial to which side? So for example, if you're looking at the arm, you know, okay, medial epicondyle, lateral epicondyle. What makes it a medial epicondyle and what makes it a lateral? You're able to first of all orientate yourself when you study bones, and that helps you now when you start building up from the bone and adding muscles and adding vasculature on that bone. And also another thing about learning bones is that when you learn the bones, you're able to learn which muscles will be found where, right? So after learning the bones, you start to think about, okay, once the bones are complete, when I start adding on the muscles to the bones, where do they attach and where do they originate? And that's easier for you to learn because you already know the structures. So if they say this muscle attaches on the medial epicondyle, you already know what the medial epicondyle is, and then you say it originates from wherever. So it makes it so much easier when you just know, like, oh, medial epicondyle is that, oh, the humerus is this, or you know what I mean, the trochlea is this. It's so much easier when you actually know the bones, and then when you start adding on your muscles, it becomes so much easier. Just a side note, something that I just want to mention quickly with regards to bones. Please know know your skull, or whatever, the cranium, I forgot what it's called, but know that thing inside out. It is so important. Know those foramen rotundum, foramen spinosum, foramen magnum, jugular, whatever. Know those things from the back. Like, be able to even visualize it in your mind, because it's so important. A lot of questions come from that thing. They really like it. So make sure that you know it. Make sure you know all those little foraminas, the cribriform plates that's found in front, how the sphenoid bones, like, know those things. It's very important. Spend time, guys, I promise you. And the other thing about bones is that it's easy marks, guys. It's really easy marks. It's not tricky. If you know that, like, a medial epicondyle is always a medial epicondyle. Lateral is always lateral. Like, your clavicle is always your clavicle. You know what I mean? So if you're able to identify those simple things, you're actually getting like a lot more marks. Maybe like 40% of the exam already you've covered it because you know your bones. So do not sleep on the bones. They're very important. Okay, so now the second thing, after you've learned how to identify your bones and you're very comfortable with that, I suggest that now you learn the origin and attachment of certain muscles, right? But now, guys, with this, what's more important now when you're learning the origin and attachment of certain muscles and all of that is to know how to orientate yourself. because now you guys, I think now you guys are using like a computer and stuff, right? So you guys aren't able, back in my day we were able to actually hold the bones and put them to our, like we could actually use the bones and like say, okay, this is the left, this is the right. But now when you're learning, you need to be able to orientate yourself, say, okay, if this structure is presented to me, is it the left, is it the right? And then from there you're able to know, like, okay, this muscle comes from this part and goes to that part, this muscle bifurcates there, and things like that. So that's how you better able to learn. When you know the attachments, when you know your orientation, that helps you so much better. And then with the arteries and veins and all of that, we'll talk about it more when we talk about the McMins. But that's what I use my netters for. And then also with my netters, what I did is that I took my lecture slides, right? The lecture slides that I have, and then I looked for the high yield information. So what I mean by high yield information is that, for example, in your lecture slides, they might have said that the brachial plexus forms whatever, and then there's the M structure that forms, and the muscular cutaneous nerves comes out, right? And then there's something special about the muscular cutaneous nerve. So what I did is that I took sticky notes, right? And then wherever there was the muscular cutaneous nerve, I would paste that sticky note then, right? One extra or two extra information that I want to know about that thing. So maybe what muscle it innervates, or any sort of special feature about it. So in order to be able to identify the bone, identify the muscle or the vasculature that is presented, and know at least one or two special features about that thing. You don't want to know the whole like thing about it. Just like know that, okay, this muscle innervates, is innervated by this nerve, or this artery supplies this muscle, things like that. So take your netters, get sticky notes if you can, right? That's if you can get sticky notes, and then on that sticky note, you on your netters, you paste the different sticky notes on the different nerves or muscles, whatever, that are high yield. So things like your median nerve, your ulnar nerve, your radial nerve, your brachial, what is it? I don't know. Brachioradial, that's a muscle. But anyway, your muscular cutaneous nerve, those are nerves that I know for sure, they love them, and they want to make sure that you guys know them, right? So those things are very important. So we're done with our netters, and we're done with our lecture slides. Also, the thing about netters, right, guys, the reason we can't just only use netters is because netters sort of fools us. The reason I'm saying fools us is because you see things in color. When you see blue, you know that that's a vein. When you see red, you know that that's an artery. Yellow, that's a nerve. So you're sort of fooled into knowing what arteries and veins look like by knowing the color. But that's not going to be the case when you guys get to your spot test, unfortunately. When you get there, everything is going to be like cadaver based, and you need to be able to orientate yourself and need to know how to best identify certain structures, which is why we're going to be using our MacMins. So from your netters, you're learning how to identify stuff in color, getting confident with that, and then from there, you're translating that information to know colors now, and just like a cadaver, and knowing, okay, so what I've seen on my netters, how can I translate that better into this MacMins, right? So I'm just going to show you guys quickly what the MacMins looks like and how you can best use this textbook. So this is the netters, right? Oh, it's so bad that you guys can't really see. Oh, there, perfect. So you guys can see this is what it's gonna look like. These are the pictures that you're gonna be having, and these are the pictures that you're gonna use, right? So the thing that I love the most about the MacMins is the fact that not only is it not in color, the second thing is that all the structures that are here are numbered, and then there's a legend on the side that tells you what each number stands for. So like which muscle or which nerve or whatever is pointed to in that number. So when you're studying using the MacMins, what I did is that I use the MacMins and I try to see if I can identify the structures that are presented there on the different numbers. So from like 1 to like 30, I try to identify, like I take a separate piece of paper, and then I'd write what I think the answer is, what the answer is, and then at the end sort of check if I'm right by looking at the answers that are provided on the legend on the side, right? So that was very important, and from that I was able to know which structures I'm battling to identify, right? Which ones I'm really bad at identifying, and then after that, after knowing that, I then started to learn how to orientate myself and how to know what makes it a vein, what makes it an artery. So now you go back to things where you start to know, okay, arteries are thicker or veins are thicker or smaller, nerves are generally like this. You start to know that we always find artery, vein, whatever, like you start to know certain relations and all of that. So that's how that has helped me a lot. Hey guys, so now that you guys have used your MacMins and you know how to best use your MacMins, now we're going to talk about the extra resources that you'll be using and your lecture slides, right? So with the extra resources that you're using, basically it's just looking at the different pictures of the same thing, right? So different pictures that you find on the internet that are in your guys' drives or wherever might show the same thing in a different way. And that's just basically for you to reinforce your knowledge and reinforce your understanding of where certain structures are found or how you best identify what the structure is, right? So it also helps you with repetition, because if you think about it, you have looked up from your atlas, you have used your MacMins and your lecture slides as well, and now you're also using the extra resources that are available to you. So now, extra resources, things like your in your neuroanatomy, the pictures of the different slices of the brain, that's very important. Know how to identify those things, guys. So now just briefly touching on the different topics that you guys have in anatomy, and the things that you should be knowing from those different topics, right? So for example, from your what's this, head and neck, right? When you guys do head and neck, like I said, do not sleep on the bones. Make sure that you know how to identify like the different bones that are there, the different foraminers. That is very important for you guys to know what passes through those foraminers and anything special about those different foraminers. So know those foraminers, know the structures that pass there, and yeah, just get very comfortable with your cranium, your skull, basically just the skull. Get comfortable with knowing how to identify that, right? The other thing is basically, I'm just gonna also, since we're sticking to the head, your neuroanatomy. With the neuroanatomy, spend quite some time knowing how to identify the different structures on like the different slices of the brain. So I think in your neuroanatomy textbook or anywhere else really on the internet that you can find, there are pictures where you can get where they've shown like they've cut the brain in different like sections. So some sections start there, going back, and there are different structures that you will be finding depending on where the brain was sliced. So know how to actually identify the structures that you find depending on where the brain was sliced, because you guys, I'm pretty sure that in your spot test you will be finding slices of brain, and you guys have to identify certain things. So know things like your caudate nucleus, where you can find it. Know the different fornices, like your anterior or commissure, like the commissures, things like that. Know where to find those things, and yeah, like know how to identify the Mickey Mouse. I don't know if you guys know about the Mickey Mouse. Like we say, like you'll find the Mickey Mouse picture with the substantia nigra in the middle, or your periaqueductal gray, things like that. Know how to identify those things, because those again are things that are very obvious. Like if you see it, you should know it. Like that's some of the things that that we're testing. Actually, it brings me back to that. Like the things that they are testing you are things that anybody who looks at that thing should know it. So at a second year level, when you look at that thing, they expect you to know. There's certain things that we don't really need to know because it's for higher levels or for people who are specializing in anatomy. But there's certain things that as a second year, you're supposed to be able to identify those things, right? So we're done with the brain, right? Or the section. Now moving to the upper limb, right? With the upper limb, again, guys, like I said, the bones are very important. Know your bones. Know how to sight. That's a tricky thing about upper limb. Knowing how to sight. Is this the left or is this the right, or is this the medial or lateral side of things, right? Know how to sight and side your bones, right? Once you're able to do that, know the muscles. Know the different ways. Like your latissimus dorsi passes through there. You have your teres major, teres minor, your brachial, yeah, biceps brachii, those muscles. So know those things. Those are things that are very obvious. If you see it, you should be able to identify it. So know things like that. Your biceps, right? Your latissimus dorsi, your triceps, things like that. And then also with your scapula, just know like the muscles, your infraspinatus, your rotator cuff muscles, actually, those are also very important, because the other reason they're important is because they're very important in clinical anatomy. So in the clinical space, if somebody has a rotator cuff tear, things like that, so it's very important for you to know how to identify the certain things. Know the head of the humerus, the fact that if you get a fracture or you get a dislocation, which nerve is going to be like severed or sliced, things like that. Know also the brachial plexus when it comes through there. Know how it branches to the different muscles and different structures, right? So I know you get the with the arteries, they loop around there, then they go down like that. With your brachial plexus, it comes from there going like that. Know those muscles that form the M, so there's also that. Know the not muscles, the nerves that form the M on your brachial plexus. So basically that's just about it. Your ribs, again, very important to know. Know how to identify the different parts of your ribs, right? So there's like a groove in your ribs, things like that, guys. Like I said, I'm not gonna go through the bones of every single part of your body, but I just want to emphasize just how important it is to know your bones and the different high yield things that attach to those bones, right? If I were to go to your perineum, make sure that you know the muscles of the pelvic floor, right? Make sure that you're able to identify those things. Your levator ani muscle, muscles. I don't know what the other muscles are. Your puborectalis, I think, ischio, whatever. Those muscles are very important to know. So yeah, guys, I feel like I'm just going all over the place now with like the things that I really think are important for you guys to know. But in all honesty, right, like I've said, use your atlas, use your Macmins, use the lecture slides and the extra resources. So some people even use flashcards. Those are very good because at the end of the day, guys, it's all about repetition and knowing how to identify things, right? So spend a lot of time repeating the stuff. Don't lose heart if you've been doing the hand for like the last hour or so or whatever. Spend time repeating so that you're able to identify the stuff. It becomes very easy for you to actually identify the stuff and you're confident in that thing, so that if that question comes up, you know that you're going to be very confident in that thing. Spend time learning how to identify the foraminers. Spend time knowing how to identify the interior of your heart, you know, the chordae tendineae, whatever they're called, I forgot, you know, those heartstrings and whatnot, those things. Spend time knowing how to identify those things, right? So it's very important for you guys to know how to identify. So your netters, your Macmins, lecture slides and any other extra information, but do not spend a lot of time on theory, guys. Please don't spend a lot of time on theory because it can get very overwhelming, like very overwhelming. In the past, when I was in second year, the spot test was where a lot of people actually did really well, because it wasn't so much theory, it was just being able to identify. And if your focus is that, then you know that you have far less to study and just a lot more to focus on. It's more focused studying and more focused sort of knowledge, right? So don't spend a lot of time trying to do the theory. Make sure that you know how to identify things. It is a spot. So for us, when I was still in second year, we actually like did it in like the anatomy lab and all of that, and we had like just 1 minute to answer the questions that were on the station. And if you know the answers, a minute is long. And I know right now you might be like, oh my gosh, just a minute. But if you get there and then they're like, what's this? It's a clavicle. That was like less than 10 seconds, you know? So just don't give up on yourself. Spend time studying. I know it's probably overwhelming, all of this information. You might feel like, oh my gosh, I don't have enough time to actually get through this. But I promise you, if you use these resources and you spend time, maybe also do it with friends, you know, you guys sort of like teach each other or whatever. So I don't know how you can best work around with your friends, or just for like moral support, you know. But you guys will do really well. I know the pressure's a lot. This year has been very long. This year has been a lot, but I believe that you guys can do well. And if you guys have any other questions, please feel free to ask me in the comment section below. And if you guys maybe have like other study methods, or if maybe you're watching this and you're somebody who's been through second year and you maybe did it differently to how I did it, please do let us know in the comment section below, because we want to make sure that a lot more people pass and a lot more people are able to actually do well in the spot test, right? So yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for joining me on my journey to becoming Dr. Matapa, and I hope that this video is very helpful to you. And if you guys have any other video requests, let me know. Don't be shy. So yeah, guys, please don't forget to like this video, leave a comment down below. If you're a newbie, let us know so we can welcome you properly. We love to welcome new subscribers on this channel, so let us know if you're a new subscriber so we can welcome you. Also, just like leave a comment down below. How did you find this video? Would you appreciate more of the academic like focused videos? Just let me know in the comment section down below. And yeah, man, please share my channel with your friends and your families and help me reach 2,000 subscribers. We're almost there, guys. We're really like so close. And yeah, guys, as always, let's keep the love going, let's keep the channel growing, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.